Hey everyone, Lisa here, and I hope that you're tuning in. Today is the first episode in a 5 episode series of 5 ways to change your social media and improve it in today, like today. And the first thing we're talking about is, there are a lot of reasons why your social media isn't working, but I want to break it down into 5 easy pieces, 5 small pieces of magic. And the first one that I see is that people have a tendency to sell. And I know you think that social media is a sales tool, and really, I would consider it more of a relationship tool. My question to you guys is this: how often do you watch a show on TV and you fast forward over the commercials? Or here's something I do. I know if I'm listening to the radio and there's a lot of commercials, I might just flip the channel and see what else is playing. So think about that. It's the same with social media. If you are only selling and only talking about yourself, people might visit you once or twice, but they're not going to come back again. So stop selling immediately. So let me offer a caveat. The caveat is that you do have to sell occasionally. You do have to promote occasionally. And I typically, when I'm doing my training for my clients, I typically tell them to start off with 10% of their posts being promotional. So you do have to talk about what your services are, what your products are, success stories, those types of things. But if you talk about them 24/7, nobody's going to listen. So make sure you're sprinkling them in on a weekly basis, but don't have them be every single post every single day. So the first thing I would do is stop selling. Start telling the stories of the success stories of your clients. Start telling stories about what your product has done. Start telling stories about yourself. Start telling stories about things that are surrounding your industry. There's so much more you can be talking about. And people come online to be one of two things. They either want to be educated or they want to be entertained. And if you can do both, that is a dang home run. So stop selling. I think if you do that, you'll realize that you have a much more relational video or a relational channel or relational platform. And I think that you'll also notice that people are able to connect with you more. And I think the thing where people get hitched up with stop selling, well, what do I talk about? Well, ask yourself this: what are the 10 things that people always ask you all the time? And I may be bleeding into another one of the weeks, so I'm going to back up a little bit. But there's plenty to talk to. Remember, talk about the topics that are around your industry or around your service or around your product. So if you're a realtor, you don't have to talk about your services all the time. You can talk about home insurance. You can talk about credit. You can talk about curb appeal. You can talk about things that you can do to add value to your house. You're not always going to be talking about what your service is. So that's our very quick week number one. I think if you stop selling and start telling, you're going to see an enormous change in your effectiveness, in your engagement, in the number of people who are watching you and want to know more about you. So that's it for week one. Week two, we're going to be talking about the second subject. And the second thing that you can do is be vulnerable, be real. If you're talking over people, again, they're not going to connect with you. Remember, I called social media a relationship tool and not a sales tool. We want to create relationships with people. What's up, Michelle? So that's it for today. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about today and you weren't able to join us online, just post them in the comments and I'll make sure to be able to address them for you. But thanks so much for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, next Monday at 1 o'clock, we'll have episode number 2. Bye for now. Thanks, guys.